literally obsessed with flipping items like DVDs on Amazon. In 2024, I sold over $700,000 worth of products on Amazon, and I buy most of my items from eBay, items like DVDs. If you're not flipping DVDs, you are literally losing money. Well, in today's video, I'm gonna be going over 6 DVDs that I purchased on eBay that I flipped on Amazon for some killer profits. Now, before we get into this video, I do want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, SellerAmp. Now, SellerAmp is a tool that I use. I always use it before I flip an item from eBay to Amazon. I use this tool to analyze products. I use this tool to look at the market prices, to calculate my ROI, to calculate my profit. There's so many things that you can use SellerAmp for in your Amazon business. So again, I want to give a big shout out to SellerAmp. If you guys want to check out SellerAmp, check the first link down below to get a free trial. But without further ado, let's dive into these 6 DVDs that I flipped on Amazon for some killer profits. All right, so let's dive into the first DVD that I picked up on eBay and flipped on Amazon. The DVD is called Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, and Halloween 5. So this is a split DVD that has Halloween 4 and Halloween 5 on it. It's a double feature. A lot of these tend to do very, very well on Amazon. And if you take a look at this item, I paid $47.63. And I sold it for $105.47. Now, this is actually a screenshot from SellerAmp, and this is one of the things I love about having SellerAmp, which is a Chrome extension that essentially pops up on the page. So on your Amazon seller sales page for a particular product, you can have it pop up on the side of the screen, and I'll share that with you in a couple of minutes and some of the other cool features. But this screenshot that you can see is from SellerAmp, and you can see I paid $47.63, sold it for $105.47, and I made $32.90 profit. Now, this isn't a really fast selling DVD, only 4 sales a month, according to SellerAmp, 21,000 rank in the DVD category, which is really good. But keep in mind, the rank always changes. This could be an 80,000 ranked DVD normally, but if it just sold, then typically the rank will drop down to about 10 or 20,000. And depending on the sales velocity, it'll slowly creep back up. But the lower number, the better. But yeah, $32 profit on this item, 69% ROI. This is the power of flipping items from eBay to Amazon. And this is why I always use SellerAmp before I purchase an item, because I want to plug in my buy cost. I want to plug in what I think this item is going to sell for. And it's really valuable to be able to see how fast it's selling, how many monthly sales, the best seller rank. Can I sell it? If you take a look, you could see under the quick info, am I eligible to sell it? And it says yes. So I'm not gated on this product. So this was a really great flip right here. On the next product, I'll dive into the Keepa chart and I'll dive more into SellerAmp. But yeah, this was a really great flip right here. Brand new, 69% ROI, $32 profit. All right, so let's get on to the second DVD that I flipped recently. And I'm telling you guys, if I'm flipping these items, you can flip them as well. It's really easy to be able to source these items. I actually source all these products using Replen Catcher. It's a tool I actually developed 2 years ago, and I just released it about 6 months ago. And essentially what this tool does, it allows you to choose a category, choose an ROI, a profit, a condition, and Replen Catcher will literally just pull back a bunch of results for you. So Replen Catcher's tracking and monitoring over, I think, almost 300,000 DVDs alone, but close to 2 million products in different categories. So you don't even need a Replens list. All you have to do is log into Replen Catcher, choose your category, condition, ROI, profit, and it'll just pull in a whole bunch of deals. And that's how I found this deal right here. So if you take a look, this is TCM Greatest Classic Film Collection. There's a whole bunch of different variations of this DVD with, you know, different characters and whatnot. I sell a lot of these TCM Greatest Classic Film DVDs all the time. If you're a thrifter, if you're doing eBay to Amazon, there's so many variations of this one right here. But if you take a look, on the left-hand side of the screen, you're going to see SellerAmp has popped up. Now, SellerAmp does a lot of different things. I pretty much only use like 20 to 30% of it. If you're doing like traditional online arbitrage, a lot of users will use it to like, you know, export stuff to like a Google document because it integrates with like Google Sheets. You could storefront stock. You could do a bunch of different things, but I use it to do a couple different things. Number one, I export all my listings that I'm going to sell on Amazon to be cool. So, you could see right here that they have an integration where you can literally put in all your information and you could export it to your repricer. So that saves us a lot of time. You could search on eBay to be able to source these items as well. So say you don't want to use Replen Catcher. Maybe you're like, I don't want another subscription, Steve. Like, I'm good. I want to manually source from eBay to Amazon. You could certainly do that. It's obviously like 90% less effective. But if you're on a budget and you want to source some deals, land on a sales page, maybe like find an item you've sold before at a thrift store for like 40 or 50 bucks. Go to the sales page, pull up SellerAmp, and then there'll be an eBay button. So you can click this button to search eBay to see if there's any available listings, at a particular price based on whatever ROI or profit you want to make. So you can click search eBay. It'll pull in all the eBay listings for this item. It'll pretty much reverse search the UPC, and you can look to buy it for, maybe less than $20 and flip it for, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12, $20 profit. I flip a lot of DVDs for over $20 profit. This one right here only made about $10 profit. I purchased it for $17.63 using Replen Catcher, sold it for $43.99. And you can see right here from SellerAmp that this made me $10 profit because it integrates with my Amazon account. It pulls all the fees out. 59% ROI. I mean, it was absolutely fantastic. Another cool thing about this is you can go under offers and you can see who is on this listing. So for every one of these items, don't just trust what I'm saying. I'm going to literally put a screenshot as well. For every item, I'm going to share a screenshot. So you can literally see a screenshot from inside my Amazon account to make sure and verify, did Rake and Profit actually sell this item? So I'm going to show the screenshot of this item that I sold, but I sold this for $43.99. And guess what? People are starting to tank the price, which happens from time to time. But the good news is this is 64,000 rank, 9 sales a month. These guys will sell out. I'm not concerned with FBM. They're not really my competitor, but a couple people came in low at 35, 36. And you could see I sold it for $43.99. So you don't always have to be the lowest price as well. The buy box does rotate. And the good thing is the new buy box has no issues. If you're selling used right now, the used buy box is a complete mess. They're giving it to merchants. But for new, it's going to FBA. There's no changes there. But you can see how fast the market does change right here. And also SellerAmp has a Keepa chart. You can take a look at the buy box analysis to see what percentage of the buy box is being won from other sellers. I mean, it's really, really powerful. But yeah, this was a good little flip right here. Not a home run, but again, 59% ROI, $10 profit. All right, so let's get into DVD number 3. So this is an item that I recently flipped as well, of course. Purchased it using Replen Catcher. I bought this for $19.99 and I sold it for $42.99. Now, these are just run-of-the-mill, like average flips. Sometimes on videos, people will show you the best of the best and they're just creating an illusion. Most of the items that I flip are just, $10, $15, $16 profit. I do have DVDs and different items I do sell. Like I've made a lot of videos on this channel showing $40, $50, $60, $70 profit, but I just want to show you average items that I'm flipping. So make sure if you're enjoying this video to smash that like button and smile, because this is the Brian Wilson Presents Smile DVD. Paid $19.99, sourced it with Replen Catcher, flipped it for $42.99, and you can see that SellerAmp is showing you all the information that you need to see. 85,000 rank in DVDs. 5 sales per month. Typically with DVDs, I'm looking to flip items between like 30 to 130, 150,000. I always say my sweet spot for DVDs is 30 to 80,000 sales rank. If you want to stay away from counterfeits, kind of get a little shy when the ranks are less than 20,000, especially less than 10,000 if you're buying from like eBay especially, and even from thrift stores, because you don't have invoices, so you really want to be careful. But most of my items are only selling 1 to 10 times a month. 30 to 80,000 rank is my sweet spot. Really great flip right here. $11 profit, 55% ROI. Thanks to SellerAmp showing me the data that I need to know before I flip it, even though I already sold this item. All right, so let's get into DVD flip number 4. And right here, I'll put a picture. This is Star Wars, The Clone Wars 2-disc special edition. Now, when it comes to flipping items from eBay to Amazon, a lot of people think you got to spend 30, 40, 50, $60 to buy an item and then flip it for 90, 100, 120. Now, while I love flipping high ticket items, and matter of fact, if you take a look at my 2024 sales, I'll put a screenshot on. I sold over 6,000 items and my average selling price was over $111. While that's my case, I still flip some lower end items. And if you want to get into eBay to Amazon, you don't have to spend a ton of money. This DVD right here, I actually only spent $12.50, and I'll put a screenshot of the seller amp snapshot as well on the screen. I paid $12.50 and sold it for $43.23. I'll also put the order on the screen right now so you can see that I actually sold it. And pay very, very close attention to the order on the screen right here, because if you take a look, not only do you see the ASIN, but you also see the SKU. So you can see LO stands for Little Owl Prep. That's my prep center. $12.50 is my buy cost. December 21-24. So I purchased this December 21st, 2024. And Jane is my virtual assistant who purchased the item for me. Quantity is 1, sold it for $43.23. So you could see that and verify that on my order page. But again, if we go back to the seller amp screenshot, you can see, yes, I was eligible to sell it. And under alerts, it said IP. When it comes to kind of being wary of IP complaints, I don't fully listen to what Seller Amp says when it comes to the IP alerts. One of the things that I really like to do is I like to look at a Keepa chart, and I like to look to see if there's a history of sellers selling it. I like to look to make sure there's that the brand isn't on the listing, which wouldn't be the case. You're not going to have Disney or Star Wars or whatever on the listing. You don't really have to worry about that with DVDs like this. If it was like a workout or a calisthenics type of DVD, sometimes you got to worry about the brand being on the listing. But 53,000 rank, 5 sales a month, paid $12.50, sold it for $43.23, $18.91 profit, 151% ROI. And of course, I source this with Replen Catcher. So again, I don't necessarily always trust what Seller Amp says in terms of if it's an IP alert or not, like a threat to get an IP complaint. But, you could use another tool called IP Alert, which is a tool that I use. I'll put a link down below. If you go to rakeandprofit.com/IP alert, I use that as well. But again, even that tool, I don't fully trust. And it's not that like Seller Amp isn't doing a good job with this or IP alert isn't doing a good job with this. They definitely are, but things change so fast. And, I prefer to use Keepa. So yeah, long rant comes to an end. All right, so let's get to flip number 5. I'll put a picture on the screen. This is the Palliser's 40th anniversary edition. And if you come over here to Seller Amp on the left-hand side of the screen on the sales page, you'll see that I paid $44.94 and sold it for $82.35. I'll also put the order from my Amazon account on the screen right here. This made me $18.60 and 41% ROI. Now, when it comes to DVDs, I love flipping new. I like flipping new because you don't have to inspect it. They're easy to ship out. You don't have to test it. It's not all scraped up. And also with all the used buy box issues going on right now, I don't have to worry about that flipping a DVD as new. Now, one of the things that I like to do before I flip a DVD is I like to come over here on Seller Amp and I like to take a look at the Keepa chart. So if you don't have Keepa, if you're not paying for Keepa, the cool thing about Seller Amp is they actually have a Keepa chart that's built in. And not only is it, really easy to be able to look and locate, and it's right here on Seller Amp. I'm obviously zooming in, but there's a dynamic Keepa chart. So you can look from 7 days to 30 days to 90 days, 180 days. And you can see right here, this pink line is the buy box, okay, which is typically FBA and typically new. You can see that this is selling all day long for about $80-85. It doesn't look like it goes up to around $100 right here. So always check that. And if you're ever paranoid about is this actually going to win the buy box? Is the buy box rotating? You could scroll down under buy box analysis here in Seller Amp, and it'll actually share with you who's winning the buy box, what percentage they're winning the buy box, just to kind of reaffirm that the buy box is rotating. When it comes to DVDs, typically they're rotating pretty equally, like the buy box is rotating amongst sellers pretty equally. But the thing that you got to worry about is, on products that are newer, Amazon's on the listing, sometimes if Amazon's on the listing, they steal the buy box completely and they don't share it. You can see right here over the last 90 days, the buy box is rotating pretty equally amongst the various sellers. So that's another reason I love flipping DVDs from eBay to Amazon, especially the ones that are discontinued. Amazon won't be on the listing. The buy box rotates, and there's usually not a lot of competitors. Like even on this listing right here, there's only 1, 2, 3 main competitors on this listing. So if you price it towards the lower end of your competition or match the buy box or even go second in line, you know you're going to rotate. You know you're going to make that sale. So yeah, pretty good flip right here, 41% ROI. Nearly $20 profit. All right, so let's get into the last DVD that I recently flipped in my eBay to Amazon flipping business. Again, big shout out to SellerAmp, because without SellerAmp, it would be really hard for me to see all the offers, analyze the deals, know what my ROI, know what my profit is. Also, big shout out to Replen Catcher. Without Replen Catcher, these deals would have taken me hours and hours to find. But check this out right here. This is a bit of a higher end flip, not the best flip. I spent a lot of money on this, but I bought this for $85.38, and I'll put the order on the screen. I flipped this for $150.99, made $36 profit on this item and a 42% ROI. Now, if you take a look at the Keepa chart here, you can see that the buy box, it kind of comes and it goes, it comes and it goes. And the reason is sometimes with listings like this that aren't super duper popular, sometimes there's other websites that have prices that are better. So Amazon will suppress the buy box, which makes it more difficult for people to buy. Sometimes there's not a lot of sellers on this listing. So there was a good amount of sellers at this point, but you could actually see right here, it went out of stock. So if there was no FBA sellers in new condition, a lot of times the buy box will go suppressed. Right now, it looks like there is one FBM seller selling 2 for $144 and another FBA seller at $155. But this is an item that it was a little longer tail. I've never sold this before. It's what I consider a lead instead of a replen. And in my eBay to Amazon flipping business, over 80 to 90% of the items that I flip nowadays are replens. These are items that I've sold 3, 4, 5, 10 times in the past. And when I flip an item and I successfully sell it, it's a replen. And what I do is I take that ASIN, I upload it into Replen Catcher, and then I track and monitor that item forever. And a cool thing about Replen Catcher, if you didn't know, you can actually go in there and not only source items based on ROI and profit, but if you have seasonal items that flip for like ridiculous prices at certain times of the year, instead of relying on ROI and profit, you can set a target buy price. So you can actually have Replen Catcher notify you if, for example, this item comes up on eBay for less than $70, just as an example. So that's definitely a very powerful feature. But again, if you take a look on SellerAmp right here, it's not tracking the sales. The estimated sales is unknown, but the bestseller rank is 20,000 ranked. You can take a look at the green drops in the Keepa chart. You can see that the buy box is rotating. You can actually see all the sellers that were on the listing, the percentage they were winning the buy box, at what time they were winning the buy box, and at what price they were winning the buy box, which is super duper powerful here. You could also see the Keepa chart section where you can see the number of sellers and how the seller count is dropping up and down, which is dynamic. And you could come under ranks and prices and see the buy box price. You can see a bunch of different information, if you're eligible, if it's a dangerous good, if it's a hazmat. I mean, SellerAmp really, really makes this easy. But yeah, pretty good flip right here. And again, even though the estimated sales was unknown, I still flipped it because I was able to see on Keepa that there were price drops all of the time. So $36 profit, 42% ROI, not a bad DVD flip. So again, I want to give a big shout out to SellerAmp for sponsoring this video. Thank you so much for the support. And if you guys need more help researching products, analyzing products, being able to make quicker and faster decisions when you're doing eBay to Amazon or online arbitrage, definitely get a free trial to SellerAmp. And also, if you want to be able to source tons of deals, just like I shared with you in this video, check out Replen Catcher. I'm going to put a link down below for Replen Catcher. And if you use the code REPLEN10 at checkout, you'll be able to save 10% for life. But keep in mind, there's a 14-day free trial for SellerAmp and for Replen Catcher as well. So happy picking, happy flipping, happy sourcing. Get out there, go make that money, and hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Smash that like button. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.